Hi, I'm Cithryth, and you are watching Cith Builds Reus. Today is the first episode of this, and I'm going to be playing the 2-hour mode. Basically, there are different time limits. You can set 30 minutes, 60 minutes, or 120 minutes. And you can do era, or free play, or the various kinds of tutorial-y settings. But, so, I've already done all that, and this will be the best way to show you what this game is like. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead with it. They've got to load the planet first, and then, as I kind of start things off, I'll explain, what... Oh, right, so I have to pick some achievements, like, basically you can work on any achievements whenever you start a game. It doesn't matter what ones you pick to display on the game interface, but it kind of helps to have it, I think, so that you have, an idea in mind of what you want to do. There's some achievements that are like, don't use a certain resource or only use a certain resource. And I think I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to try and get the Great Era achievement, finish an era with 3,500 prosperity. I don't know if I'll get it, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so this is a 2D god game, which is unusual. I like the art style a lot, but basically you control these 4 giants: Ocean Giant, Swamp Giant, Forest Giant, and Mountain Giant. And they are the way that you interact with the world. You don't interact with the populace. So basically you can see, you start with this barren planet. It's very barren. There's nothing on it. No life. Nobody wants to live here. So you use these giants to create biomes to start off with. And the biomes are places where people can live. So I'm using the Ocean Giant to obviously make an ocean. And as you can see, the land around the ocean is darker than the land not near the ocean. And that means that it's like moist or wet or whatever. And so you can make it a swamp or a forest. So we are going to do a forest. We're going to raise forest right here on the edge, and he's gonna go do that. In the meantime, while he's doing that, we're gonna have the Forest Giant come over this way and actually make a mountain, because he is a mountain giant. He'll make a mountain, and then the land around the mountain will become a desert. Let's see how the Forest Giant's doing. He's doing good. Alright, and he's slow. The problem with the giants is they're quite slow. But as you can notice, people aren't settling yet. The people will start settling once you put resources. So that's the other thing that the giants do. They create biomes, and then in those biomes, they create resources for people to collect. They can use, they can make animals. So for example, the Ocean Giant, I can make a little pod of domestic animals. The Swamp Giant can put herbs, which give different kinds of benefits, or exotic animals. This guy, he can put down some fruit, plants, and the Mountain Giant creates minerals, so like rocks and minerals. You know what minerals are. So on top of that, the giants can upgrade those resources. But as you can see, the Mountain Giant has put up his mountain, and now there's a great big desert around it. We're going to have the Forest Giant. Come here, Forest Giant. Forest Giant. Come here. And give us a forest over here. So we got forest on either side of the ocean. And you know what, let's actually build a yeah, okay, we'll put an ocean there. So that's the thing, you have to kind of carefully plan out where you put your biomes, and that'll become more evident as the game progresses. I don't want to get into it too much. We're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, just trying to make the biomes. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish making the biomes, because the giants are kind of slow. So just give me a minute and I'll come back to you when it's all said and done. Okay, so I've got my biomes all set up the way I want. I've got a nice big foresty patch over here surrounded by 2 oceans. On the other side of this ocean, I've got a little bit more forest, a little bit of desert, a whole big mountain range, nice swath of desert again, a little bit of swamp, and back to the forest again. So that's my starting biome. That's how biomes, I guess. That's how my planet is going to be looking. Now I can change things later on. some things I can't change really, like mountains or oceans really. But I think I can change like the forests and the swamps around, and I can add more oceans and more mountains. But anyways, let us get started. We are going to start with a desert people first, I think. Because I usually start with forest, and so I want to do something different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this ocean giant and put down some domestic animals right on the edge of the mountains, because then we get the people kind of leaning more towards the mountain, because people won't build a village directly on mountains. So once he gets over here, he's walking quite slow. He's coming. He's gonna get here eventually. Little ocean crab giant, here he comes. He's gonna put some animals there. I know he will. Alright, here he goes. Kaboom! So we've got some kangaroo rats here now. And here's some people. You can see them kind of fading into existence. And they are going to put down a village right here. A desert village has been settled. Desert villages often start projects that require wealth. Try using precious minerals and exotic animals within the village borders. Press the right across and show this tip again. Alright, so this is the town of Newport, apparently. They've got some food, and that's great for them. You can see this and this designate the town borders. These like little guard tower things. They're pretty cool. This is the village center. And so basically we want to help them. So villages will start projects like the one they just started now, the trade post, and each project will have a kind of resource requirement. Now, animals and vegetables and minerals all provide different resources. They'll either provide technology, food, or wealth. Now, this trade post project requires 30 wealth in use. So we will need to add some resources that provide wealth. So we've got these kangaroo rats, and I'm going to put in a mineral that gives wealth. So we're going to put these precious minerals here, right next to it. Now the reason I'm going to put it right next to these kangaroo rats is because of the system that this game uses called symbiosis. Symbiosis is basically the way the different resources interact. So if you look, kangaroo rat, it says +2 food if a mineral is within animal range. So since now I have built this mineral right in the animal range, the animal produces more food for the village, and so I went from 2 food to 6 food. So that's good. Now, this quartz, the symbiosis for the quartz, new nomad is roaming the planet. Hold on, I'll get to that in a minute. Okay, I'm gonna pause while I explain this, just so things don't happen. Right. So, resonator +8 tech if next to stone, which is a specific type of mineral, or +8 wealth if next to another quartz. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have, once this skill cools down, I'm going to put another quartz right next to it. Now, what resource appears when the giant uses the create precious mineral skill changes depending on what biome it is. So it's not going to necessarily be quartz if I use that skill in the swamp or in the forest. So that's something to keep in mind. But as you can see now, I've got a whole lot of wealth going, and actually too much. I did a little bit too much. I was a little overzealous. As you can see, there's 3 red arrows next to the wealth for this village, and it means growing irresponsibly fast. The thing with this game is you don't want to provide too many resources too quickly for your villagers, because otherwise they'll get greedy and want to either attack the giants or attack other villages. Luckily there isn't another village right now, so that's not a problem. But, speaking of, that nomad message I got, as you can see up here in the left-hand corner, there's a little kind of shining circle, a little dude and a donkey. Basically, that means there is a nomad who wants to, you know, put down a village. So, as soon as there is space with resource available, they will do so. So what we're going to do, we're going to have the forest dude put a little... we're going to put the fruit right here, near the ocean, because I like having ocean resources. So he's going to do that, and then we will have another village, kind of on the opposite end of the planet. I like doing that at the start, because, you know... Alright, so nature is looking promising, but it could do even better. Have you tried making use of symbioses? Click on your favorite natural source and look at the symbiosis. So basically it's just reminding me to use symbiosis, because I'm being a bit slow, because I'm trying to talk through this whole thing. Alright, so he put down some blueberries. And here along comes a nomad. And there we go. Forest village has settled. Forest villagers often start projects that require food, so using fruit, plants, and domestic animals within village borders is good. Alright, so that's Fortshire. I like also this game because each of the different biome villages have a unique look. I usually really like the swamp villages. Alright, a desert ambassador has appeared because we succeeded the trade post project that the desert village put forth. So, yeah. Basically, when you complete a project that a village wants, they'll give an ambassador to you. So you assign an ambassador to one of your giants, and it improves one of the skills, or it gives one of your giants a new skill. If I hover over each of the giants. So as you can see, for a ocean giant, he will give this monsoon ability. For a forest giant, I'll get this hunt aspect, which is an upgrade to a resource. For the mountain giant, I will get noble aspect, which is again a resource upgrade. And for the swamp one, I'll get predator aspect, which is again a upgrade. So I have to decide what upgrade I want most, because the desert ambassador gives upgrades to start with. Alright, so I'm going to give the desert ambassador to the giant. I'm going to have him come and pick up the desert ambassador. He'll put the desert ambassador on his head. So this brings me to why it's important to have different villages in different biomes. Because different ambassadors, so like it specifically said this is a desert ambassador. Ambassadors from different biomes will give different upgrades or skills to the giants, and so that's important. Alright, so let's look at how this forest is doing, this forest village, Fortshire. They've got a project going called Shrine. They need 15 wealth and 15 food. I'm gonna check real quick on the desert though, see how they're doing. They've got 2 greed, that's not great. That's not great. So we want to kind of let them chillax a bit. And we're not going to really deal with them for a little while. So we're going to focus on the forest village, and I might start a swamp village, or maybe another forest village over here. We'll see. But I think I've been talking a lot, so I'm going to say pause. And I'm going to say this is the end of episode 1. So thanks for watching. Episode 2, I will be working on this shrine project. Thanks for watching, and I will see you then.